Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We are starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex. Welcome back to City and the Sex. It has been a minute. We left you guys in March. We went on a video game detour, but now we are back for And Just Like That season 3. But on top of the many twists that this show has and this podcast has, our season 3 episode 1 recap has an extra twist, which is that we got Rachel in the hot seat instead of Emily, because Emily's too busy. And frankly speaking, Rachel's my favorite this week. So sex this up, girl.
Honesty this week is the theme I see.
Yeah. This is how I'm coping therapeutically with Emily abandoning me for work. Barf.
The audacity.
The audacity.
The rudeness.
Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk about this incredible season. I sound like a plug for HBO Max, like this incredible season I had.
Well, first of all, they've been crushing it in all of their other shows so then to take a hard left turn from Hacks and The Last of Us.
I was going to say, to see the finales of Last of Us and Hacks and then turn this on, I was like, wow. And then Gilded Age is coming in like
June
a couple
22nd.
weeks. Exactly. I was like, this is woof.
I just...
Well, we'll get into it. We'll break it down. But real quick, Rachel, what's fun about you reviewing this episode is, correct me if I'm wrong, have you ever seen an episode of And Just Like That from start to finish?
I have not seen from start to finish. I have seen the majority of Snapplegate.
Okay,
Season
well,
1.
Everybody's seen, I mean, you can't be, if you haven't seen Snapplegate, you've been living under a rock. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just want people to know I'm with it.
But this is your first time watching an episode start to finish.
Yes, pressing play, witnessing what is.
Where these characters have been recklessly abandoned.
And I'll be honest, in my first watch of it, I chased it with an episode of Sex and the City.
It has that effect. It's sort of like those Disney live action movies where like you have to cleanse the palate and watch the original after.
Yes.
Which I think is like their big scheme to get us to watch it. They're like, well, they'll watch the bad one and then they'll watch the good one again. And that's a double viewing for us, you know?
Corporate America wins again.
Take my money. Take my money. Well, I'm very honored that you managed to sit through a whole episode on my behalf. So
I did it twice.
Let's get into it. Rachel, what was your one word for this episode?
My one word is cool.
Mine was okay. That's incredible that we basically came to the same conclusion. I
would say I have some like hard ride or die moments of this episode and some hard burn it all.
There are definitely like peaks and valleys of things.
Yes.
Let's get into it. This is And Just Like That, season 3, episode 1, Outlook Good. We start with Carrie at home with the cat. She's sending a postcard to Aidan because I guess their 5-year thing is happening, which, I mean, we can talk about it now. We'll talk about it later, but like the whole structure of this 5-year thing, it's clear the writers didn't know what they were doing at the end of last season, and now they have to figure out what they're doing, and they still don't want to figure out what they're doing.
I'll even park it back a few spaces, coming in blind and seeing animal in Carrie's care?
I will say
Question mark.
you violated the rule of not talking to me about this episode to text me like Carrie has a cat, and I was like, I know, it's a crime. It's a crime.
A living being in her care?
I know.
No.
Well, this is honestly my big complaint about the whole. We're 2 seconds in, we're diving into it. This is my big complaint about the episode as a whole. Is I watched a behind the scenes sort of interview with Sarah Jessica Parker, where she was talking about how like Carrie's really mature. You know, these characters have to grow and mature and they have to change. And like, that's what keeps them engaging. You know, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something along those lines and about how like, you know, you want to see characters mature. And I really was like wrestling with that soundbite that I saw on TikTok because I was like, do we want to see characters mature? Sometimes.
Yeah, but again, like the beauty of art is the flaws. Boo.
Yes.
Barf, but true, right? Like
Yes.
yeah. So no, there's nothing entertaining in perfection, and also if I'm watching the full trajectory of a story, yes, by the end of it, I would like growth. But in theory, Sarah Jessica, you had growth, and then you had to bring the story back, which means we still had more growing to grow.
Yeah, I agree. Like we'll talk about it later more in depth, but like when she has that walk and talk with Seema in the hat scene
Who
around
is
the world.
Fabulous. Seema's amazing. Oh my God, she's stunning. But yeah, hat watch.
I know. Yeah, we'll get into it. But they have that whole walk and talk where she's like, who's this mature lady? And then Carrie's like, oh, if you had seen me with Aidan, like in the past, like whatever. And Seema was like, well, I want that girl. And I was sitting at home being like, me too, bitch. Me too.
Louder, Seema. Louder.
Louder. Anyway, she's at home. The most fascinating thing to me about this episode 1 is that Michael Patrick King really hyped the voiceover is going to come back in this season because it has been missing from season 1 and season 2. And there was no voiceover at all, except obviously at the very end. So I can only assume that episode 2 has voiceover. But if episode 2 doesn't have voiceover, I'm going to lose my shit. That's all.
I just don't understand eliminating like a major definer of a show. I mean, first of all, again, the fact that these episodes are 45 minutes is incorrect. I know this is season 3 and all of this has been hashed out for 2 seasons. But due to the game, it's a crime.
It's a crime. I mean, I'll say at least you're coming in like we've talked about it before, like Naya and Che Diaz have been cut as characters and you know, we have our qualms, we have our problems with them. We don't need to go into those two, you know, let them rest in power. Do you know what I mean? But like honestly, thank God, because at least now they only have 5 characters to really focus on. So at least you're getting a 45 minutes that like makes sense and finishes people's plots. Poorly maybe, but finishes them. Whereas in season 1 and 2, it was when they were managing like 8 characters at once, it was not like that.
And again, as a fan of the pod, so having not watched the episodes but listened to the podcast, you know, agreed. And again, I have hard praises in this episode, hard criticisms as well. But there's sprinklings of the beauty of the original show in here.
Yeah,
they're light, but a trained eye can find them.
Well, we get into it. We got the 3 girls at a lesbian bar with Hot to Go blasting in the background.
Offensive.
I really was like, my God. They think the youth are watching.
They think
the youth are watching. And it's like, no, this show is for like you, me, and like women who were 30 in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway, and basically we learn that Miranda has dragged Carrie and Charlotte to this ladies' bar, she says, because she's like too awkward to talk to people. She makes this quip where she's like, it's like law school minus the penises. And Carrie's like, so not law school. And I was like, this is our first zinger of the episode. It's already weak. And it's already weak.
the crickets that this woman plays to in this episode are wild.
Yep, just like a loud thud. So then we see like a young woman is sort of making eyes at Miranda. And then, Carrie kind of tells the girls that she's sending postcards to Aidan. And Miranda, one of her good quips, I'll say at least, where she's like, you're reminding him that you're growing old in New York.
It's there.
It's there. It's
The
coming.
remnants.
It's still sort of, the Kindle is still kindling. And Carrie says that her relationship is on back order. Lovely.
Yeah. Yum.
Yum.
Sounds like good television.
But then we get to some good television. And by that, I mean, still questionable, which is that we learn the girl is Brady's old babysitter. Charlotte Walsh. She's got a first name and a last,
Right.
or maybe it's not Charlotte, but it's like Cassandra Walsh.
Yes.
They put so much emphasis on this one woman's name who we will never see again.
I was gonna say, and just to be clear, we've never seen this woman. Like, I wish it was Magda, like.
I know. Although rest in peace, because as we know, that actress is no longer with us, but same.
But in theory, Magda has watched Brady the entirety of his life, right? Until we then meet them. I know that's not true, but in my mind, I'm like, who the hell is this bitch? Like,
I know. Same. We learn that Miranda and Steve have sold the brownstone, which is like painful for 7,000 reasons. The main one is that in season 2, Miranda basically tries to kick Steve out of the brownstone, and he pulls a Wolf of Wall Street, like, I'm not fucking leaving. And he's like, I built this house. He gives this like beautiful impassioned speech about how, which is true. Like, Emily and I recently rewatched season 6 for the pod, and rewatching that, I'm like, yeah, this man really did like build this life. And then to just have it be in passing, like, oh yeah, we sold it. I'm in an Airbnb, a hardy har har. I was like, we're 3 minutes in. I'm already incensed. Also Airbnb where?
Well, and in the village, and for at what price? Ma'am, you're getting divorced.
You're in Human Rights Watch now.
Exactly.
What kind of cash are we raking in here? Anyway. But then we cut to your favorite, Seema.
A queen, a star.
Who is sort of, I'll say, I think she's I think she and LTW sort of take parts of Samantha. Like, I feel like Seema takes the sort of sexy part and LTW takes the sort of like businesswoman with the fun job part.
Yeah.
And that's how they sort of split that.
And like quippy and has the really cool significant other. Shout out to Chris Jackson, who was a king in this episode.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Or
but
in general,
if they can reference Hamilton, they will. Like, and it's like season 2, they put him in the costume.
Good. Good. The general was there. Good.
Good. But we see Seema all sexy asleep, waiting for her FaceTime with Ravi, who is her Marvel director boyfriend who ran off to Egypt at the end of season 2. This is me filling you in. Yeah. This is me filling you in that he was pitched as being the love of her life, but he was going to Egypt to film a Marvel movie. And I love that when like the FaceTime comes on, she like puts herself in the whole position and like pushes her tits up and everything. And I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but the man who plays this assistant, I'm devastated that this is the only episode he's going to be in because he is too good.
He is also an icon. First of all, like accent, style, acting, good job. No notes. And he was probably acting by himself.
For sure. In front of a green screen with camels in the back.
Yeah. He crushed it. His 3 scenes, no notes.
No notes. My favorite moment from this scene is when she's like, she sets up something to be like, I'm going to bitch to Ravi. And he's like, oh, bitch away.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Flowers to this man. I wish him nothing but Emmys. The best.
I also like, and they've done this, they do it a few times. Yeah, not even a few times in the episode, but kind of in this scene of like, when it opens, she's full on passed out, like grody sleeping.
Yeah.
She's not pretty sleeping, and it is reminiscent of those Samantha moments where they not make her ugly, but make her, like not as fabulous as she of course is. And
Right.
that did warm my little heart. Of it's like, bring it back, bring it back. We know who I am. We know who I am.
Yeah, honestly, like out of all the plots, this one may have been a little like, I don't know, maybe like color in the paint in the lines or whatever, but I was the one I probably liked the most of all the side plots.
I'll reserve my opinion.
Ooh, I can't wait. Okay. Well, she lights a cigarette, she falls asleep, and we learn that she has lit her mattress on fire because she fell asleep with the cigarette. And she has also put her hair aflame. I'm just devastated that she doesn't have some sort of like fucked up Fleabag sister haircut.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh my
such a
God, your
weak-
hair is so short. I'm like, where? It's
Right.
2 inches.
Well, and they're like, you're very lucky to have gotten out of this. She's like, my hair. And I was like, first of all, your hair looks wet. Like, if anything, like, you're fine.
Yeah, but I needed like a one side longer
Yes.
than the other side.
Yes. And we need to like wear hats or keep our hair up or like
Yeah.
some real obstacle.
But they want to keep her sexy. And honestly, I'm not opposed.
I know. I'm just saying we had a whole episode when Samantha had a skin peel and had to wear a veil. We
I
could have had a
agree.
fucked up haircut.
I agree that she could have had a fucked up haircut and then she could have like bought a wig and we could have just never thought about it ever again.
Yes.
But then we cut to Miranda and our special guest star this episode, none other than Rosie O'Donnell.
Tread lightly. Justice for Rosie.
No,
She
let me
is not
state.
She is not the problem in this episode.
No. Let me state up top very clearly, okay? When they announced Rosie was going to be in this season, I was excited because I was like, I wonder what crazy shit they're going to make Rosie do. And Rosie is, I stand hard for Rosie. So like, I'm excited.
Justice for Rosie.
Justice for Rosie. And like, we'll get into it. But like, I saw the pictures of her in the Wicked t-shirt in Times Square and I was like, hell yeah. And I feel that they did her a big disservice. Let me just say that.
I couldn't agree more. I was
Thank
like,
you.
But here's the thing: is so happy that Rosie was on my screen. I would love to get her a talk show back. Let the campaign start here and now.
Now, yes.
Half of the storyline works for me, but they didn't commit to it fully.
Yes.
The idea of her being a visiting tourist, having a fling, getting attached, and doing the most. First of all, like. New York's New York Rosie O'Donnell being like uncool touristy tourist. Good job.
Yes.
Virginal nun? Not necessary.
No. Too many hats.
So many hats.
So many hats that we can't explore. I wish they just leaned into the tourist thing, maybe kept the virgin thing. Like, why do you have to explain it by she's a nun? There are people out there who are 40-year-old virgin. Yeah. Like, I don't know. There are people out there where it just like didn't happen, especially if like she's lesbian from a certain community. Like maybe it was difficult. Like, I don't know. Like we can find a reason. That was my point is like, first of all, these bad Photoshop texts should be FaceTime videos because I know Rosie's schedule is probably busy, but you could have had a day where you took her to all the big spots and we saw her. She's got 1-2 lines being like, Miranda, where are you? I'm the tavern. I'm rowing by Tavern on the Green. I would have killed for that.
Montage. I would have killed for that montage. Like she's some big Broadway fan, or even if she's just visiting, no virgin aspect of all. She's just gotten divorced. I don't care about the sub storyline of like all of that, but like clingy tourist Rosie, so close.
Enough for me. A genius. Well, I wish I had just more than these terribly photoshopped pictures.
Right. And especially since to set it up with her being so tender in the bar, and then we just could have switched it to crazy.
Come on.
I'm honestly to call.
I know that was my biggest disappointment is like you have Rosie O'Donnell, like use Rosie O'Donnell. I felt she was like, and I don't know if it was scheduling. Like, did she literally just have like 30 minutes and they're like, all right, we're shooting this bar scene and we're shooting Times Square? Because if that's the case, then I sympathize. But like, If she had a whole day, you could have churned out at least a couple of these.
Yes.
Anyway, to your point, she tenderly approaches Miranda. It is maybe like the first time in a long time I've seen Rosie like being tender in terms of on screen. Like obviously she's very tender in her TikToks because
Yeah.
I watch all of her chats on TikTok. But like I haven't seen her in this way portrayed on film, if that makes sense. And
No, I
I
get
loved
that.
that. And they sort of connect. I love that they just spit out random titles. Like Miranda's like, I'm at Human Rights Watch. And she's like, oh, I'm at the Compassion for the Unhoused. And I was like, oh my God.
Words.
Words. Thank you. And Rosie invites her to her hotel. They fook. We find out that she's the Virgin Mary, Virgin Nun, and I hate it.
It's
Sorry.
one of those moments where you truly think that Michael Patrick King wrote this to make a Virgin Mary joke.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I say not good enough.
I say then have the bit be none. Is the
Yeah.
bit tourist or is the bit none? And they're trying to have it be both. And I hate to tell you, not going to work.
They were like, "Oh, we're down 2 characters. We have to just we just shove multiple characters into Rosie O'Donnell."
But she can do it.
Yeah.
We also have this moment with LTW in bed with her husband. She just gets up and then looks at her deck of women. I guess it's to show that she's stressed about it.
It was honestly a throwaway.
Yeah, I think they could have cut that. But then we get to Charlotte's main plot of the episode, which is that she is walking in the park with LTW and her dog, and this woman just starts verbally harassing her, saying that Charlotte's dog has caused a spinal injury to her dog, and Charlotte has to pay for it. And Charlotte's like, I don't know what you're talking about. My dog is always on a leash. My dog is always well behaved. Somebody online pointed out that this woman who plays the crazed dog woman is also the woman in Sex and the City, the movie, the first one, who throws paint on Samantha when they come out of New York Fashion Week. And she's like, murder. It's the same woman.
And she's like, I love New York. That's crazy. I'm happy she's getting work.
Emily and I have done our fair share of shitting on Michael Patrick King for bringing back people, being like, did he just forget? But I do think it comes from a place of him wanting to sort of give people another chance, like another bill, like another something. And, I think it's cute. I love that New York has one ranting, raving woman.
Hell
Love it.
yeah. And it looks like she had quite the arc from, the first movie to now.
I mean, mother. We do have, she insults Charlotte's dog, and Charlotte has that moment where she says, let's stop the body shaming. We do have like 3 lines here back to back between this scene and then the scene at Charlotte's home with the kids and Harry, where you're like, we're just throwing out the slogans now, aren't we?
Yes. But I will say this storyline feels very Charlotte.
Hot take. Okay.
Oh, you don't think?
I think it does feel Charlotte to me because, again, coming off of season 6 when we're dealing with dog periods.
Yeah.
Like, I did forget that dog was another one of her sort of wheelhouses, if you will. I just last season had the whole arc of getting her back to the workplace. And I kind of want to see that. I want to see more of that, less of dog now. Do you know what I mean? Like this feels like a season 1 Charlotte plot to me when she's just like a mother. You know what I mean? And doing nothing. So that's my complaint. But I agree with you that on the page, it is at least fitting for her.
Because I feel like of like in the original series of our 4 women, Charlotte always gets like not the goofy foible, but like she's decided she's going to help the blind, so she's going to go blind, and then or like dog period, or like he's just too good at cunnilingus, like it's always like like what? Of course, this woman in the park now hates Charlotte, and that's that's our storyline. Yeah, but you're right. She's back in the workplace. She's a working woman. She's too good for the storyline now.
She's too good for the storyline now. That's like my take. But I will agree with you that it is at least a very her. It's not misaligned. Like
Right.
none.
Like none.
But then, as I said, Charlotte goes home to talk to the kids and Harry about this. Rock says, Mom, believe women. And I threw up.
Yeah, I don't like these children.
Yeah. And then Lily comes in with like a crop top for school. And then Rock is like, your fast fashion is killing the environment. And I'm like, what? Who? What? It feels like sponsored content. Like somebody has to be like, the Doritos, they're good, huh? But it's like, we got to get in our little like, believe women. It's like, that's not a joke anymore. I don't know.
And it's like, and it's also, and especially because Charlotte's like, not now. It's almost as if they're like, who's the Che adjacent character? And it's like,
oh God,
stop.
Let it die for a reason. But then we learn that Lily's crushing hard on a ballerino.
Sure.
I don't know if that's insensitive to say. If it is, I apologize. But she's crushing hard on a ballerino, and she gets invited to a family and friends rehearsal at Lincoln Centaur, which we will see later. I rhymed that.
Yeah, I liked it.
So then we cut to Carrie and Seema doing the walk and talk with the hat. I mean, what else is there to say that has not been said? It's fucking ugly, period.
I don't know. I don't know how it made it to the screen.
Well, you do know.
I'm sure Sarah Jessica loved it.
There you go. That's how you know. But that's how you know.
Like truly, Janice came in and I was like, oh wait, you got to see this hat. She was like, no. It was so bad. But one of two offensive accessories this episode.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear the next one.
There was an accessory watch for me.
Okay. Well, I'm strapped in, seatbelted in, waiting for that. But they talk and basically Seema's like, how are you like so cool dealing with all this stuff? And Carrie's like, I'm mature now. And everybody's at home being like,
in this hat.
Yeah, exactly.
In this like, Miss Muffet's Tuffet's hat. I'm mature. Meanwhile, Seema looks like sex, eating an ice cream cone. How is she standing next to this person? How is she standing?
It's just like, do you think on an intrinsic level they know and they're being cheeky about it? Or like, no, it like Sarah Jessica does not recognize at all that she's wearing the dumbest hat, but trying to tell us that Carrie is like an evolved and changed and grown woman who's not at all affected by the fact that she's got a 5-year no contact relationship.
Well, and that's the full irony of like, I'm going to wear this hat and tell you about how mature and far I've come from the person I was.
I hope somebody's got that going in their head being like, that's great.
Yeah, that's like, is this
I'm scared that they don't actually think that.
Are we missing the camp?
I don't know.
Is it?
First of all,
they can't be smarter than us.
They're not smarter than us.
This show is not smarter than us.
Michael Patrick King, I will write for you anytime, any day. I respect you. I just want to say that. I feel like I've shit on you a lot, but there's no way that they're on the levels of this. She definitely saw that hat and said it makes the outfit. It's so Carrie. You know, it's also Carrie not having flaws anymore. And I beg you to record that and listen to it back and really hear what you're saying.
You know what's interesting to watch? No conflict.
No, you know what's really interesting to watch? A woman who's got a crazy fucked up relationship and seemingly doesn't care. Well, then we get to LTW's presentation on her documentary to these two random women from PBS, ? It's not quite clear.
This is my second offensive accessory. I do not like this necklace.
Is it the necklace? I was about to say that it's made from the balls that people put in home staging.
Yes. It is so overpowering on this beautiful, stunning, fabulous woman. And it's just 8 balls. suffocating her. And I'm
I
like, no.
I'll say like first viewing, I was like, that's ugly. Second viewing, I was like, okay. I actually don't hate it. Just not with this dress. There's something about the fact that it's like circular and woven, and then also like with these hexagon shapes. Like it's too many shapes.
I'll
That's
give
my
it.
hot take.
I'll give
Too
it.
many
I'll give it.
shapes.
Too many shapes, too many patterns, but Lord knows it is overpowering this presentation, this
Yeah.
poor woman.
Yeah.
To
I
then
will
have
say.
Chris Jackson be like, "Am I cool?"
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like, "Yes, sweet baby boo, but wifey can't accessorize right now."
Yeah, there's just so many levels to this one scene that are just wackadoo. Again, in a very nun style way, where you're like, what is happening? She's got this crazy necklace. She's preaching about these unsung black sheroes, which is a continuation of the plot from season 2, at least. He calls to be like, am I cool? We waste our time learning about his campaign manager, who we'll meet at the end of the episode, who it's like, if he's not in the rest of the season, I'm going to be pissed. Like, if this was his one
Well,
time in this episode, then I'm going to
yeah.
throw up, because they spent so much time explaining this Chauncey guy who I don't give two fucking shits about because he's not interesting. No offense to
No.
the actor at all. I truly just don't think they wrote anything of interest about him.
No, they gave him 6 lines. On the other end, we need more of that assistant to
Yes,
Seema's man.
that guy should be the campaign manager.
Yes.
That guy is going places.
Do we think the rest of the season is locked, or
Or is it still?
yeah?
Yeah, no.
It's rewrites. It's fine. Easy.
Yeah. And then she goes back in there, and then of course, to the documentary people, and of course they're like, let's just put Michelle Obama in there, which I thought was kind of funny in its
Yeah.
own way. I was
Yes.
like, that would happen.
Yeah.
I do think it is funny that the unsung sheroes has Michelle Obama in there.
Right.
That feels right.
Yes. Agreed.
I also love that as they're leaving, the one woman's like, do you want to get lunch? And the other one goes, no, I'm fasting.
Right.
That's some chuff text right there where I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the Sex and the City. I know.
We give credit where credit is due.
We do. But then we get to Carrie showing the cat a velvet skirt, being like, and this we leave alone. And I'm like,
No.
God, I really didn't think we'd end up here with you.
I don't want to be here with her.
But then an old enemy comes to haunt her, which is the alarm goes off.
Oh.
And so she has to run through the whole house to explain that it's just the back door being triggered. And she goes to fix it. And then she has to clear the alarm. And then she falls on her back. And then she calls Miranda and says, help, I can't get up.
So everything, the fall was funny.
Yes.
That will always be funny. And also her running around in an Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown.
Fantastic.
Like, I'll allow it.
Fantastic. I do think there is something funny about like how big the house is and her running around.
Well, and technology is always her foible, right? Like,
Right.
I don't know how to work this at her wedding. It's like, really? You don't?
Yeah.
She didn't get a cell phone for so long. Like, she and technology, because she's such a cool girl,
Yeah.
she can't technology. So this enemy of hers for this episode, on brand.
On brand. I'm not upset.
There's not supposed to be a cat anywhere, but
this cat is like your arch villain.
it's like Emily being, what was it? Emily being that Lily is
like out
big.
to kill Mr. Big.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
In my mind, this cat is out to kill Carrie.
I'll say in season 1, she like moves into a new apartment, and the whole bit is that the alarm, there's like a fire alarm that keeps beeping, or she can't figure out what's beeping, whether it's the dishwasher or the fridge or the fire alarm, but there's just like a consistent beeping, which I was like, it's a little similar to this alarm thing, but I think the alarm thing is better. So I'm willing to go with it.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I do think it's kind of crazy that Miranda has to like come over to help her up that we see off screen and like left work to do that. I was like, all right, now we're just finding any old excuse to get this bitch over here.
Yeah. And she can't go hang out with Rosie in Times Square because she has to go back to work, but she had time to go over and help
And just
out. Like,
lift Carrie
right.
off the ground. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it would have been a nice, this could have been a nice flashback moment at least where she's like, oh, you're calling me for help. Remember that one time when you made Aidan come and get me? I was kind of
Yeah.
expecting that instead. And instead we just got this where Miranda just sort of tells the whole nun thing. And then we learn that Rosie's at Tavern on the Green. And I'm like, boy, would I like to see it.
Isn't
Guess
it
I won't.
amazing after all these seasons of the show, you still have high expectations?
I know. Honestly, why?
The eternal optimist, my friend.
That's me. Every season I'm like, okay, this one's gonna be good. I mean, we're 3 seasons in now.
I just
It's got to be taking me somewhere, and I'm starting to think maybe it's never gonna take me anywhere.
It's amazing though that you have been able to resist the Kool-Aid effect, right? You've been so immersed and yet you
Oh, of
still
thinking it's
reject.
good.
Yes.
Here's the thing. When I had to rewatch season 1 and season 2 for Emily for this podcast, I had that fear. I thought maybe if I rewatch it again, you know, it won't be as bad or whatever. No, I am forever scarred by this process. This episode I watched twice. I watched it the first time, just like watching it. And then the second time I like was like pausing for notes and stuff. And I was like, God, it's incredible how they'll just never get me.
Would you
They'll never get
say
me.
you have been changed for good?
For good? Because I knew you.
See, but
Don't
I
make me
wanted
sing.
more of that. I know I'm jumping
know.
ahead. I'm jumping ahead. But
I'm jumping ahead, but agreed.
so again,
Well,
we've dished on Rosie being at Tavern in the Green, even though I want more.
I want more. Wish I could have seen it. Guess I never will. Then we cut to LTW at home with her family, which again, like, I mean, people have said it. We're not the first people to say this, but like, I'm really just not interested in these kids and
No,
this
only
whole
Chris
setup.
Jackson should be there.
Only Chris Jackson.
Only the
I
general.
agree.
Yeah, that daughter making dumplings with the doll, and then the doll being like pork.
The fact that they have to, I know they're setting up the doll for the dog later, but on first go around watching this, I was like, LTW is a doll freak. Like that's where my mind went. I was like, oh, this woman has like a Demi Moore doll collection that we haven't seen. And then I wanted to see the doll. Like, I just feel like they like give me tidbits and then they don't like show me the tidbit. Like Miranda and Steve deciding to sell the house, I think is an interesting plot point that we sort of saw in season 2, but not really. And it happens off screen. This woman's freaky doll collection off screen. Like, lean in, Michael Patrick King.
Well, and that's the thing is like, give us the kooks magooks of these women running around New York, living their lives. That's what we came here for. And just trying to be so polished.
But show it to me. It's like I feel like they need to take the joke always like one step further, and they never do. And it's very perplexing to me.
That's exactly it. You know, like lean in.
Lean in. Well, you know who is leaning in? Chris Jackson, because he's got 2 buttons unbuttoned.
I know, but he's cool and he's hot, and I need more men to understand that bald is good.
Bald is
hot.
Good.
The Rock, Stanley, Chris Jackson. just hot men.
Yeah, again, they have like a sweet moment. The Eugenia doll gets her time in the sun before she gets fucking wrecked. And I like the button that they end on when he puts the little cap on and he's like, and they're like, no. And he's like, nope, cool. You know what I mean? Like
he's so good. He's Harry, right? Like he's kind of filling that void. After watching this episode the first time, I put on the episode where they go to the Hamptons for the wedding, for Nathan Lane's wedding. And it was so reminiscent of Harry in that episode of like the back waxing, all this, and you're like, sometimes the men be good on this show.
Yeah. I think Chris Jackson is great on this show.
Yeah.
And sometimes they make him do dumb things, but Like Emily and I are still perplexed by the whole comptroller idea, but we're just going to let it
Sure.
go.
You run for that.
You do
You
it, sir,
go, sweetie.
with Chauncey, the campaign manager, whose name I know for no good reason.
Right.
Well, then we cut to Lincoln Center where everybody's meeting up for the ballet, and we get a little Mary Tyler Moore reference here. You get introduced to Anthony's boyfriend, the Italian poet.
Yeah.
Which was a big plot point of season 2. He gets Anthony to bottom for the first time. That's his contribution of note.
Wow.
Yeah. It's clear that like somebody along the lines was like, what if we got a real Italian to date, Anthony? And then they found this guy. And then they were like, this guy's hot. We just want him on set, put him in every scene, make him speak Italian.
Oh my God, he just so doesn't fit in the world for me.
No, I agree.
Well, also,
It's like
this motley crew going to the Met for this ballet.
Yeah, why is Charlotte not there? Like, I know they say she like has to find a doggy daycare or whatever, but I'm like, does she? I don't know. Like, I was kind of like very random.
It's also like, and it becomes a further plot in this episode, but like to me, Anthony and Carrie don't go together.
Yes,
and like I know Stanford, like I know all of that, but I still am like, they don't work together for me.
I agree, because he's always been Charlotte's, pal in that way. Whereas like, I mean, I'm really sitting, other than the dog period show, like, have Anthony and Carrie really interacted that much in the original show? Obviously they interact in the movies and stuff, but like, I don't know. Yeah. I want Mario Cantone, more of him. I think he is like a guiding light in this show. His whole plot this episode is how he's got too many opinions that he should share less. And it honestly angered me because I was like, no, he should share more. And
somebody should be interesting on this show.
Thank you. And the Italian boy toy, I mean, again, nothing to this actor. I wish him nothing but the best in life. But I feel like he's trying to fill a Smith Jerrod-esque role.
Yeah.
But he's not quite hitting it for me.
Well, and they also haven't written him to be.
No, exactly.
Like I understand it's a dress rehearsal, but nobody is in this theater. And it looks weird. Also, technically, I mean, I guess I get it being on the Met stage, but not really, because the ballet is technically next door.
Yeah, I had the same thought too, where I was like, I think this is the wrong theater.
It's the wrong venue. It's the actual, like, all of a sudden we're in Moonstruck watching the chandeliers go up, and I'm like,
I think it's across the hall. I had the same.
You're in the other building.
Thank you, because that was driving me crazy. Where I was like, I think they're gaslighting me into which building they're in.
When Carrie being like, I love this part, and I'm like, girl, you don't go here.
You literally didn't even go when Petrovsky tried to get you to have your Moonstruck moment.
That's my thing. Truly, that was the most offensive part of this whole thing. Is that she's acting like comes here all the time and like this is something magical for her. I'm like, honey, I think I wrote down like Carrie in the Met ?
Yeah,
no.
I agree. And it's not even like I feel like if Carrie, the Carrie we know, ever did go to the Met, it would be because she was trying to fuck somebody hot there. And she would have been completely disinterested in whatever. Again, it's just the rewriting of Carrie.
She is taken to something cultural by Charlotte or Petrovsky or, or something new, like by Samantha, she turns her fucking nose up at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I culture. I'm like, you get out.
Yeah, I don't know why Anthony gets all the one-liners in this scene. Again, God love him. He is a guiding light in this show. But like, excuse me, again, I'm thinking back to Petrovsky when they see the woman in the exhibit, whatever, and it's like, and she's being like, girls got to get a comb through her hair. Like, that's the Carrie that I know.
Right.
The
Carrie
Carrie that I
comedian.
know, the Carrie that I know is not getting horny watching Lily get horny for this man. The
Yeah.
it's so the acting choice here. I'm sorry, Sarah Jessica, girl, I love you. I have nothing negative to say. I would love to come to your home for dinner, but like, there's something about the look that she gives Lily in this scene where I'm like,
Right, when she
are
like
you
leans
getting
forward.
horned up by this? This is disgusting. I understand
Yeah.
like seeing your daughter fall in love with somebody and being like touched by that and being like, oh, but there's something about it where I'm like, that I think because maybe it's not her daughter that I'm like, I get she's
It's
her
also
aunt.
just like the wrong choice. It's one of those things of like, you know, it's too easy to actually direct that moment of like Lily leans forward and then Sarah Jessica's like smiles, thinks to self of when she used to lean forward. But instead she gets like crazy.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
weird.
There's some subtle choice there where it does not give exactly like I remember when I used to be like that.
Right.
It gives like oh, which like don't
Right.
like, don't like.
Or
And
even
also
they
well,
could have had like her pick up a postcard at the Met gift shop and then have her like look at that at her purse of like, oh, I'm in
right.
love too. It's not that it is hard. It's an art form. But like, come on.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. There was something in this whole scene that was the chemistry was a bit off
Yeah.
here. Also, again, the way that Anthony is so berating to her about like her 5-year contract with Aidan. I understand why. Because we need somebody to be that voice. Because
Right.
basically they want to channel us, the haters,
Right.
into him. The problem is that like lest we forget, Anthony was the one at his own wedding who was like, yeah, Stanford gets to be crazy, but I get to cheat, and then walked away and didn't explain himself.
Right.
Like, he's also not the kind of guy to be like, give me all the answers or whatever,
He
I don't
also
know.
wouldn't say it to her face.
Right.
Right?
He
Like
would
she should
definitely
have gone to
tell
the
the boyfriend.
bathroom and then he's telling boyfriend and she comes up and is like, well, tell me what you really think. Like
Yes. That is the scene I would buy,
yeah,
not this being like, so what does it mean? Well, what's that about? I was like, all right.
right. Because again, you and her don't have that relationship.
And we get the biggest crime of this whole thing, which is again, the Italian lover saying, maybe don't be so you all the time. Go fuck yourself.
Like
Him being
what?
so him is the only thing that's keeping me going.
Yeah. The only like actual conflict.
Terrible.
Otherwise, it's everybody just like rolling their eyes at everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, my boyfriend's late. Oh, this tourist is obsessed with me. Oh,
You,
my husband thinks he's cool.
That's actually genius. That is this whole episode is everybody just eye rolling at everybody else.
Ugh.
Captivating television. Well, speaking of captivating television, we're going to take a fucking nose dive because we get this scene where Carrie's at home with the cat. Again, questionable. We don't have to get into it. She picks up a figure 8 ball, which I think she did have in the original series,
I
right?
think she did too. I can't remember when, where, who, or how.
I
But
think she did use it with Petrovsky at one point because I
yeah,
like have a loose memory of it.
yeah.
But I like that it shows outlook good, whatever. And then Aidan calls while she's asleep, and whoa boy, whoa boy. I did not think in the year of our Lord 2025 we were going to see Aidan lick his hand
I
to jerk off. I think that is the most traumatizing moment of this
Dion Miller
whole scene.
licking his hand. Ugh.
Yeah, no.
And we just watched it, and Janice is like, it's happening.
And this was another thing where I was like, season 1, somebody talks about masturbation and Carrie goes to Mr. Big and is like, do you masturbate? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, really? She's like shocked by it. Cause I feel like Carrie's also always kind of been sort of anti-masturbation. Am I making that up?
Sometimes she's anti-sex.
Yeah,
Like
no, I mean,
anybody
well,
but like her, like, no, truly. Because her, like, Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the episode is.
I feel like she's always been a little cagey about masturbation in
Yeah.
general because Samantha would talk about it all the time, like me and my vibrator or
Yes.
whatever. And she'd be like, ew, gross.
Right.
Um, so this was sort of a shocking turn for me, but I was like, okay, the licking of the hand, I wish
Oh,
I could unsee it. But then Carrie sees the cat and that kills the mood. So she has to fake it,
and not even
which,
well, by the
and
way.
terribly, can I
Like
say?
not even comedically, not even believably.
Yep. No,
Like we made
minus
zero
two on both
choice.
fronts. Minus two on both fronts. I'm like, if Aiden wasn't like coming into his windshield so hard, he'd be like, are you okay or are you
And so
sick?
fast.
I know. Well, listen, it's been a while for him.
With 3 beers?
Also, I'll say it's a little messed up that he was like, we're going no contact. And then he's like, well, I will booty call you for some phone sex. That feels
Right.
pretty out there.
The horn moment was funny. And then he was like, I think I shit myself. And I was like, oh yeah, now I'm turned on. Oh.
I mean, I will say Carrie does have phone sex with Big that we see off screen, but I always got the sense that she was doing it for Mr. Big.
Yes.
That like he was touching himself and she wasn't necessarily touching
Yes.
himself, which I know is
Yes.
fucked up, but that's the Carrie I used to know.
That's and where is she, by the way?
Where is she?
Carrie that I used to
To
know.
know. Well, Miranda gets yet another bad Photoshop of Rosie at the Central Park carousel, and I'm mad because again, I want to see her on the
I want
carousel.
to see her on the carousel.
I don't want to see Miranda leaving Carrie a voicemail about the premise of the carousel. Jesus Christ.
Eye roll.
Eye roll. And then we get into Seema's plot, which is basically in that scene with Carrie, Seema says that she demanded Ravi come visit her. And sure enough, he shows up with the new bed and like flowers. And then the next morning, he's like, I've got us, a reservation at Jean Georges for lunch, but I need to do some movie stuff. And then she has to get into this horrific van with movie crew people. Ew, barf. Ugh,
But
hate
the
them.
assistant.
But the assistant is there with a full Birkin, which kills me. I love that. Claps to that. Oh yeah, there's one moment where the bed guy is like, shit, this is like a movie.
What? Not necessary.
Not necessary. Could have been cut. But I don't know if you know or if you remember from listening to our thing, but Ravi's whole thing is that he only speaks in movie puns.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's them
I
doing
see.
that.
I
And like,
see.
I hate it. Anyway. Then we get to Charlotte and LTW hanging out and Charlotte's bemoaning about how her dog is canceled. She tried to take the dog to doggy daycare and essentially got rejected because the other dog was there. Another fantastic performance, by the way, by like a sort of one-time player, a guest star.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like where I think the only line he says is "Oh no," just in
Oh,
different
no.
readings.
Yes.
Fantastic. That man, Emmy. But she's bemoaning that, her dog is canceled on Instagram. And a sentence I thought I'd never say, but I will give you that point. Very Charlotte.
Very.
And the dog, lo and behold, is tearing apart Eugenia the doll. Again, would have liked to see the dog rampage through the whole doll room. That would have been fun, but I guess
Also,
somehow
the
we've got a
dog
budget.
barely touched that doll.
Yeah.
And I don't even know or care about this doll, but
apparently I do now.
yeah.
Then we cut back to Ravi and he's at a pier, which like looks very much like Governor's Island. I was like, all right.
100%. 100% that was Governor's Island.
And the lunch gets moved to dinner and Seema calls Carrie to complain about how she had to have Sprite and chips in a van. Very unlike her.
Cool ranch chips.
Cool ranch chips. Thank
like,
you. And a Sprite.
Okay.
Yeah. So I chuckled a bit.
Yeah. I think again, it was one of those things where we didn't lean in enough. We weren't in our couture and we weren't traipsing around, mud or somewhere, like we weren't
Yeah.
going through alleys and she had to stand there in her Louis Vuittons with the rats.
Yeah, I feel like I
She was
needed
on
to
a pretty
see
pier.
Yeah, I feel like I needed to see, like, more quick cuts of her in, like, terrible places, because he says, like the assistant says, like, "Oh, we're gonna be looking at 3 piers," and then we only do see 2 piers, and then
Yes.
we are told that it took the whole day, but, like, I would have liked to just see it very quickly.
A
This episode
montage.
could have been benefited by montages. That's what
Yes.
we're saying.
Yes. And honestly,
Um,
the 2 montages we were after could have mirrored each other,
yes,
both
I
showing the
agree.
sights of New York.
And 2 women in hell.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
2 women in hell. Like,
Yes.
I think that would have been really fun. Okay, well, that's why
Well,
you and I should be hired. But we're not. We're here bitching, and then they're gonna hear a clip of us talking out of context, and we'll never be hired ever again. So
you know.
that's what I look forward to.
I've lived
Um,
a good life.
but then Charlotte confronts the woman. She says she's going to pay for the dog's back. But wouldn't you know it, another crazy dog runs up and starts beating on this woman. And then Charlotte's like, "It was not my sweet baby angel. You got her canceled or him canceled, and you have to fix that." And then this plot is fixed. Congratulations. And then Ravi does find his abandoned pier, and we get a wonderful sunset finale scene in keeping with the thematic thing that everything in his life is a movie, where she's like, "Art imitates life." And then he's like, "I lost track of time." And she's like, "You lost track of me." And then, because this pier is the end of your movie and our movie. And then he's like, "I'll always love you." And she's like, "Roll credits." And again, I'm devastated to lose this assistant character,
Right.
but I am happy that this is done.
Another one.
Another one bites the dust.
We're just praying to check off plot lines.
That's how you get through this show.
2
Is being
more to
like,
go.
oh yeah, exactly. It's just like, when are they going to ruin everything that they've already ruined? Do you know what I mean? Like, just burn it to the ground. And then we have our big penultimate scene, which is the cocktail reception that LTW has put together for the comptroller campaign for Chauncey. We see Chauncey for all of 2 seconds. It pays
I'm
off
sorry,
for nothing.
but Sex and the City ladies above 96th Street
I know.
at
I
the
know.
Red Rooster
I know.
in
I know.
Harlem?
I know. I feel
Who
like they should
are
have.
these people?
I feel like they should have made a bigger deal about that, being like, "We would have never come to Harlem," but I think they're just trying to like whitewash the fact that that was a problem back in the day. That they never went above like Central Park North. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Correct. I was like, they're in
very
my
silly.
neighborhood?
Yeah.
They showed Red Rooster. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Again, great use of Chris Jackson with the acapella group. Chauncey being like, "It's so not cool." And I'm like, "You shut the hell up." If I'm going to get to hear, like, I feel like the biggest crime is that the one time Sara Ramirez got to sing, it was like in a very shitty scene that only made their character look worse. So like, at least I'm finally getting somebody who can singing in a way that doesn't make me upset.
Yes. And if anything, ups his cool factor.
Ups the cool. And I do
also
love
Harry
that
being a
Harry,
king.
literally Jinx, being like, "Yeah, baby." Love it. Love it.
Dudes supporting dudes.
Dude, man, sporting man. Speaking of that, Anthony apologizes to Carrie and says, "Please don't kick me out. I clawed my way in." And I'm like, why are we making him grovel? Jesus Christ.
Right. Also, I just don't think you two are that good of friends.
I agree. The way she like tenderly hugs him, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe with Charlotte, I would believe this kind of a scene, but
yes.
not with Carrie. But she does say, at least she does say that everybody's thinking what you're saying. You're just the only one who said it out loud. And I'm like, well, somebody had some sense finally. Oh, wait, It was Carrie? Never mind.
Okay. Well, growth. What are you going to do? No.
What are you going to do? And then LTW puts her foot down with Chauncey, but guess what? He worked in the White House. So that means I hope he's coming back. So at least he pays off in some way. And if Michelle Obama is on this show, I need to talk to her team and be like, what are y'all doing?
Oh, Michelle.
Come on, Michelle. Don't stoop so low as to be on it just like that.
No.
Terrible.
We would know. Nah. Oh.
I'm scared.
I know.
They might be able to pull it off, which is the frightening part of it all. You know, Cynthia's got those deep dem ties.
I know.
I'm just saying, if Michelle Obama appears on this show.
I know. And you know Cynthia's going to direct her.
Oh, God. Oh, and then they're going to sell that. They're going to sell the crap out of that. No. God.
Ugh.
Wouldn't it? Here, see, that would have been the best way to replace Samantha, is just the fourth one is Michelle Obama. See, and now we've become those producer ladies. It's full circle.
Any fix for the show? Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. Michelle, we love you, to be very clear.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I loved your episode on Amy Poehler's podcast.
I listened to all the clips about how you raised your children, and I'm envious, and I'm taking notes, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I love your honesty, and I think it's great, and you can do a real push-up. Anyway.
Yep. So then we get to finally our one scene of Rosie doing something New York, which is her with her fanny pack and her Wicked shirt in Times Square next to the big old King Kong. And Miranda, you know, to give her the, you know, she does at least put her down slow. You know, I thought this was nice in the way that she wasn't like mean to her. You know, right. I thought it was a very gentle putting down. I did think Rosie's one line where Miranda's like, I don't want you to leave God for me. The way that Rosie deadpan is like, oh, I wouldn't leave God. We're married. Killed me.
Bring Rosie back.
And her singing for good.
Excellent. Why wasn't there more?
I wish there had been more. Like, just think if we'd had a montage where in every place she like sang a different cringy musical line.
Well, that's the thing is like, there's also a storyline where the two of them get stuck together, right? They're both at this lawyerly thing. And so it's like, oh, wait, Miranda, you've already met Mary. Why don't Mary's
take her out for lunch?
Take her around,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then they're stuck together. And Mary's like, I want to do these things.
Yes, that would have been a much better conceived plot that we will unfortunately just have to write fan fiction about and we'll never see.
Yeah.
All because Michael Patrick King wanted to write a Virgin Mary joke. Whatever.
Truly. Not Magic Michael King. No.
I did not mean it like that. I stumbled. I'm not that complimentative. Okay. Again, Michael, I'm available 24/7. Hit me up. Email, phone, fax. I'll find you. But I'm not willing to say that. And then the episode decides we got to watch Sarah Jessica Parker masturbate one more time because she kicks the cat out and she calls Aidan. And this was something I wanted to point out that I forgot to point out, which is in that first scene when she's asleep and he calls her and she's clearly sleeping, she's wearing a bra.
I know. Well,
did you clock that?
Yes, because here's the other thing is like all throughout the show, Carrie's sleep attire is all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, remember when is it in the movie? She's like in a full button down with a set of pearls on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So what confused me is like, why is she asleep in a bra? But then when she intentionally calls Aidan, she's like in a tank. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like we should have flipped these so that you were like, put the bra on to like get that extra sort of
I'm sexy,
juice.
I'm sexy.
As opposed to me being like, has Carrie slept in a bra all these years?
I think so.
And as somebody who slept in my bra for most of my youth because nobody told me that I was supposed to take it off to sleep at night. It's a crime. And Carrie, if you're this mature, I want to release you from that.
Well, and if you're this old, no. I will say the problem with these scenes of Aidan and Carrie in this is it's just one of those moments where you're like, I know these activities are fun. I've had fun during these activities. But somehow watching you two do them, I need to gouge my eyes out.
It's painful. It's
It is
painful. It's painful.
horrible. And
It's
I
like
love John Corbett, but
I've
I cannot get that visual of
God, yeah, no. I think I do think that phone sex is a little tough on screen. Like, I do think
yes.
that you can get away with more chemistry when it's sort of a sex scene that's in person, whereas a remote sex scene, I feel like is usually played for laughs, not usually played for like a tender moment.
I'll give you
So I
that.
think that might also be part of the reason why it doesn't quite, I think, translate in the way that they want it to.
Well, because that's the other thing is we didn't lean enough into comedy of it,
Exactly.
right? What if she fumbles to get the cat out? What,
Right.
like
Trips or something. And then
right.
fake comes in like a ridiculous way, you know?
Right.
I
Exactly.
agree. But I think they thought it was tender. That's the
And it's
problem, is that
not.
they I feel like they are viewing Carrie and Aidan as this like, you know what killed me is that the alarm code for the house was Carrie and Aidan, and I wasn't expecting it to be Carrie and Big, but I was like, not even one photo of Mr. Big,
No.
not even
No.
one photograph of the man that you chased for years, cheated on this other guy with twice, and married.
Right.
Like,
Well,
not
the fact that
one
the alarm
photo.
code is Carrie and Aidan is wild.
Again, I'm not expecting it to be Carrie and Big, but like, I don't know. I thought, again, they're really trying to get me to buy into this. And I don't know that I'm buying what they're selling.
Also, that door alarm going off would have been funny during
Yes.
either of those moments.
I should have. Yep, exactly. It comes a little too late in this scene. I'll say it.
So does Carrie.
um, hey,
Ew.
bam, bam, bam. Yeah, I'll say also horrifying that he's like, I can't. And then we see his son is in bed with
Oh
him. And
my
I'm like, my
god.
God, this son is like, what's 18 minus 5? He's 13 or whatever. I'm like, we're not sharing beds anymore. I'm sorry. It's like the whole was it Tom Brady who was kissing his son? And everybody was like, it's
Yeah.
okay to kiss on the mouth when he's your son. And it's like, maybe if we're having this discussion, it already says that it's not okay. How about that? How about that?
I don't like it.
Well, as you say, she hangs up, the kitchen door alarm goes off, and she can't fall asleep. So, what does she turn to when things are down? Her writing. And we get the line, she said to herself, what had she gotten herself into? Something like that. And presumably, next episode, we will have voiceover. We'll find out. But
Is
I'm
it
not
because
holding my
she's
breath.
returning to writing? Is that
So,
the idea?
yeah, because she said she hasn't touched her laptop in months at the beginning of the episode. And the idea is that Carrie is going to be writing romance fiction this season. So basically, Michael Patrick King was like, well, we got rid of the voiceover because in seasons 1 and 2, because like Carrie,
Because she's
basically
not
like,
writing?
no, that's the thing. That's what they should have said. But the problem is season 2, I think, kicks off with her writing the book about Mr. Big's death. And so he was like, she didn't know how she felt. And because she didn't know how she felt, we couldn't hear what she was thinking because like her emotions were so confused. And it's like, right, but she wrote a book. So presumably her emotions would be resolved enough to write a
How
book
do you
about
not
it.
know how you feel if you're writing a book?
Right. So that was my thing is like season 1, you could make the argument she's not writing, so we don't hear
Right.
the voiceover. And then season 2, it comes back. It's sort of my complaints with the end of season 6, where they like had the voiceover go away, but like not fully. And it's like, you should have just taken it away fully because that would have had the
Right.
kind of effect you were looking for. And so here, I think, again, all of it is dumb because what all of it really is about is that they wanted to make the show different. And so they thought the voiceover, nobody likes that. Let's just get rid of it. And they realized that they got rid of the fucking best part of the fucking show. And so now they're trying to put it back in there. But I think but it's like she's writing fiction now. So is it going to be about her life or is it going to be about the fiction? I'm very curious. So I thought I was going to get an answer episode 1, but I guess I got to come back for more.
But you got Chauncey.
I got Chauncey. He's going to carry me through. Well, we made it to the end. This is where we do our rose and our thorn, our high and our low. We'll start with the negative. Rachel, what was your diarrhea of this episode?
I gotta go with underutilized Rosie.
Yeah,
I think it's a
that's a pretty
crime.
bad crime. I agree. God, for me, I mean, it's got to be Aidan licking his hand.
Yeah.
I kept seeing the clip over and
Honestly,
over again on Twitter
yeah.
and stuff, and like it just grossed me out. And like again, nothing against the actor. I love that man. Wish
I
him nothing
love
but the
John
best.
Corbett. I
He's hot
find
as
John
hell
Corbett
too.
so hot. Ian
He's
Miller
so
is
hot.
so hot.
And somehow it made him not hot. And I don't think it's necessarily his fault. It's just weird. And also inappropriate for you to say no contact and then call her for booty. No, thank you. I don't like that. I don't approve. That's not very feminist. What was your release the Kraken? What was your high?
I think all of Chris Jackson. I think Chris Jackson being the coolest. It's just someone trying to grasp on to something coming into this show. Chris Jackson understood the assignment. He achieved the assignment and he expanded on the assignment.
Well, I have to say, the cat is really fucking cute. Like, she shouldn't have it,
What is the
etc.,
cat's
etc.
name?
Shoe, as in the shoe, like the item you put on your foot, and also, ew, get away. That's what she says in the episode. I'm not making that up. So I hate that too. I literally hate every reason why the cat is in the episode, but like as a cat lover, it's so pretty to look at.
It is a pretty
so
cat.
cute to look at.
It is a pretty cat.
I mean, I'll stand by my man for my real sort of rose moment and say Anthony, you know, he came out guns a-blazing. He demanded to be called the Gunkle. And he's a delight every time I see him. I cannot wait for his Patty LuPone crossover. I hope she's also not underutilized. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. She gets the montage we wanted for Rosie.
Oh man.
Will this uncancel her? Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out. Stay tuned. Well, Rachel, are you going to tune into the rest of the season?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to continue putting on Sex and the City when I feel the need. But good. I don't think I will be returning.
Well, that is wise.
I think I will just be a loyal listener.
I will return to the montage of hell that I live in, which is watching this show twice a week, every week for the rest of my life.
But then you're going to do season 5 of Sex and the City, and it's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, in like 3 years from now. Yep.
That one.
Well, you know, you don't have to go and be hoity-toity and see the ballet when you could just listen to all of our pod episodes instead here on Spotify.
Hey.
You know, like, and subscribe, and follow. And if you're thinking, oh, I want something more visual, though, well, then you could go to our YouTube account, Sister Pigs. Why is it Sister Pigs? Because it rhymes with Mr. Big. Exactly. You heard it on this podcast. And there we are doing Sex and the City and Baldur's Gate 3 crossover. It is very fun for gaming and non-gaming people alike, which Rachel, you can attest to.
It's true.
Thank you. Thank you for backing me up. Thank you for having my back, unlike Carrie and Anthony. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye.